Hi there, I wish to introduce you to the characters to Book 1 and a deep dive into each of their past. Born in 1956, his origins whispered to be Finland, his bloodline stretched into Russia's Magadan Oblast. His body is a map of the Gulag Brotherhood, cathedrals, domes, stars inked in scars of survival. 14 arrests, 9 felonies, 7 convictions. Klot's life is written in crime and punishment. From racketeering to murder, Klot's life bled smoke and blood. 25 years in Kolyma forged him unbroken, a living prison whose silence alone was judgment. Grey-eyed and immovable, he became a dark patriarch, a shadow of the system itself, its iron fist walking among men. A child of Cordoba, raised between Argentine astronomy and German mathematics, Miles was groomed for brilliance. His father tracked signals from the void. His mother taught discipline at the chalkboard. Educated in Berlin, he mastered cryptography, algorithms, and surveillance, carving equations that broke codes and birth systems. Fluent in 5 languages, his mind became a weapon sharper than any blade. Recruited by MI5 under Prescott's watch, Bauer was the quiet hunter of the digital age, tearing down encryption with theories disguised as doctoral work. He looked a poet, but his legacy was mathematics turned espionage. Next, the perfect weapon. Aurora. Born in Novosibirsk, Siberia, shaped in the crucible of the KGB, where pain, infiltration, and obedience were not just lessons but a creed. From childhood, she excelled at marksmanship, recon, and psychological warfare. Graduating with honors an academy where weakness was purged, fear was a luxury none could afford. MI6 files suggest her mother, a Soviet legend, raised Aurora and her brother for greatness. He chased accolades, she chose shadows. Cold and detached, Aurora turned trauma into weaponry, scars into tools, silence into judgment. Where others sought recognition, she became the ghost moving unseen through conflict. When the Cold War dissolved into shadows, Aurora adapted. Joining a mercenary force founded by her mother, she became a lethal asset. Unlike her brother, she shunned rank and command. Loyal to no flag, she lived only for survival, and perhaps an old MI5 agent she once crossed. Her face is carved in severity, her stare unflinching. In her presence, silence weighs heavy, like a verdict not yet spoken. Aurora is the ghost of the Cold War, trained never to stop fighting, and still moving through the underworld of conflict, unseen, relentless, unforgettable. The old but known less. Prescott. A relic of MI5, bred in privilege yet hardened in the parachute regiment and SAS. His parents' death left him wealth and estates, but he chose service over decadence. At Sandhurst he taught combat and psychology, before slipping into the shadows where medals were whispered, not worn. Rumors trail him. The 1980 embassy siege, black ops in Europe, lives ended in silence. Now retired, Prescott gardens, tunes radios, and writes on military thought. But his eyes betray him, a man who has killed for queen and country, and would do it again if called. Her childhood was stolen in Chugagurao, raising her brother amid poverty and the suffocating grind of pressure diving. When he was killed, grief turned to fire. Jessica unleashed a rampage of vengeance, leaving dozens dead, gang leaders, enforcers, even a police chief who thought himself untouchable. For that, she was caged. In youth prison, her cold temper and sharp intelligence stood out. Guards feared her, recruiters circled. The state sought to break her, but forged her instead. The Philippine army turned rage to discipline, cunning to strategy, and her body into a weapon. Jessica Sambica is no soldier. She is a blade honed by loss and sharpened by rage, a force that kills not for orders, but for the silence it brings. Then she vanished, headhunted into the shadows. Whispers place her in the underworld, an assassin of precision and fury. Tattoos mark defiance, scars written in blood. Her gaze shows nothing soft, only the darkness of a woman who has already buried her family, her past, her conscience. And finally Ivan. A man with wealth and a mission for revenge. Ivan's childhood once seemed perfect, until the collapse of the Russian Empire tore it apart. His father's suicide shattered the family. Soon after, Ivan and his elder brother were incarcerated, dragged into a brutal world where innocence had no place. The Gulag awaited, cold, merciless, and far from anything he'd known. Yet Ivan did not break. Hardened men saw in him more than a boy. They saw potential and profit. Under their ruthless tutelage, he learned to endure pain, to calculate risk, to weaponize survival itself. Every scar became a lesson. In the camp's harsh code, Ivan found the blueprint for power. At 193 centimeters, Ivan grew into a towering figure, an engineer of death and survival tactics. The Gulag's savage lessons became the blueprint for empires. Tutored by ruthless men, he amassed an army. Electronics, private security firms, river logistics, land. Each venture expanded his reach, wealth soaring into the billions. Yet behind the steel mask of power lingered a fragile ghost. The boy who once endured hunger and frostbite still whispered within. In private, Ivan arranged miniature models with careful hands, as though piece by piece he could reconstruct the childhood that history had stolen and time refused to return. The stage is set, the main cast assembled, and the story is ready in its raw form. Help us bring part 1 and 2 of the Terra saga to life. Please like, comment, share, and if you can, support our funding journey. Your help means everything.